What is up? Good afternoon and greetings, friends. I am Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, sitting in for Doc Wallach today, and you are listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. It's great to have you here. We're going to take your phone calls in a little bit if you have questions about medication, supplements, or the longevity products. If you've got comments or success stories you'd like to share, we love hearing success stories. If you have questions about ingredients, formulations, health challenges, whatever, we'll be taking your phone calls a little bit later in the program at 831-685-1080. That's your priority line number, 831-685-1080, or toll-free 888-379-2552. Try to get on board early so we can get to as many calls as possible. For those of you who don't know, I am a nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I specialize in using nutritional supplements. Never did like drugs. Even in pharmacy school, I didn't like drugs. Never understood the concept of using drugs, of using toxicity, of using poisons to treat disease, which is the manifestation of an already stressed out system. So I've been doing nutritional pharmacy for many years, doing the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program for many years, been part of the longevity program for many years. And what I've discovered over the last, say 25 or 30 years of practicing nutritional pharmacy is that there's not a single health problem, there's not a single health crisis that you cannot improve dramatically or reverse by using a good nutritional supplement program. Some of you may have caught an article that showed up in U.S. News and World Report yesterday discussing the result of a University of Pennsylvania study that found that 1/3 of women still get hot flashes 10 years after menopause. Can you believe this? As if menopausal hot flashes and menopausal symptoms weren't bad enough when you were dealing with menopause. 1/3 of women, millions of women, have to deal with hot flashes long after their hormones have gone through the big change. According to the study's authors, the only thing that doctors can do for these unfortunate women is drug them with Paxil or Lexapro or hormones, all of which are toxic and add more stress to an already overburdened body. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Bad science, bad medicine. If you're dealing with hot flashes, the last thing, friends, you need is drugs. If you're dealing with hot flashes, menopausal or postmenopausal hot flashes, you're dealing with the same kind of body breakdown or health challenge that other people address when they have osteoporosis or autoimmunity or any health issue. You're dealing with a body in distress. This is the core of the degenerative disease process. This concept is so fundamental, it's so important because it simplifies health and wellness. And it takes the mysterious ways that the body breaks down, it takes the mysterious ways of the body and it makes it more understandable. And it liberates us from the tyranny of the medical model. Understanding the generic fundamental ways the body breaks down frees us from the medical model, which at the end of the day can do nothing about the real causes of degenerative disease. You see, hot flashes and the unpleasant signs of menopause are nothing more than the manifestations of a body that's in distress, a body that's in survival mode, a body that thinks it's about to die. The body has two great streams of energy, one that energizes the body when it's relaxed. This stream of energy is stimulated and produces relaxation, digestion, oxygenation, healing, growth, repair, general wellness. This is where we want to live most of the time. We want to spend most of our days being activated, being energized by this relaxation nervous system. It's called the parasympathetic nervous system. I call it the rest and digest and thrive nervous system, and it regulates all of the functions that help the body thrive. The other great stream of energy, this is what is behind degenerative diseases of all kinds. This second stream of energy, it's called the sympathetic nervous system. You got the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. This is the nervous system that keeps us alive under emergency conditions, and it's a darn good thing we have it. If our lives are threatened, we want blood to be squirted out with more pressure. That's how our tissues and organs get a burst of oxygen for fleeing or fighting. And in an emergency, we want our immune system to be suppressed and our digestive system to shut down. Why? That way we're not expending precious resources on body processes like the immune system and the digestive system that might be helpful in the long term, might be important in the long term, but they're not required from running from a lion. The problem is not activation of the stress response. That's a good thing. The problem is chronic, long-term, daily, hourly activation of this stress response nervous system. This stress response chemistry is only supposed to be activated once in a while, rarely, when our lives are being threatened. But the problem is our 21st century lifestyle has created a world where we are constantly under a perceived sense of threat. Our survival is not really being threatened for the most part. It's a perceived sense of threat. This perceived sense of threat, we call it fear, if you will. And if you want to know what the body's stress response, sympathetic nervous system responses are, just think about the last time you were really scared. And not just a quick shock or quick surprise kind of fear, but a long-term, sustained kind of fear. So say you had to do a speech. Public speaking is the most common fear, one of the most common fears. You probably started sweating. You were probably anxious. Your blood pressure went up. You may have lost your appetite. Sound familiar? These are all the signs of an activated sympathetic nervous system. You probably felt warm. You might have felt hot. You might have even had a hot flash. Now, these are the symptoms that that we know about, that show up visibly, obviously. But what we didn't realize is that our bones were weakening. We weren't healing. Our skin was thinning. Our hair follicles were starting to shut down. Even worse, we didn't notice that our immune system was shutting down. We didn't notice that we were more susceptible to viral infections, shingles, herpes. Folks, this is how the body breaks down. Every single sign of degenerative disease is nothing more than a sign of a body in distress. And how do you take care of a body in distress? Well, first of all, you got to make sure you're getting enough oxygen. Second of all, you got to make sure that you're getting the mighty 90. Nothing will turn on the body's stress response faster than a lack of oxygen and a lack of nutrition. And this is so darn important because this, my friends, is where we have control over our degenerative disease process, hot flashes, menopausal symptoms, whatever. Breathe deeply. Make sure you're using your macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbs, and get yourself on the essential nutrients, the mighty 90 from Longevity. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We're coming back at you with more good health information on the ZBS Radio Network right after this. With my good friend, longtime good friend, with the wonderful radio voice, Bill Graff. What's up, Billy?
Hi, how you doing, Ben? It's good to be with you again.
When I grow up, I want to sound like you on the radio.
Well, you sound pretty good.
I still don't sound as good as you, my man. Unless you're doing something with the technology over there. I know you're a tech geek.
Well, we're playing with it all the time here, yeah.
Well, you sound awesome, whatever you're doing.
Hey, listen, I know you're a compounding pharmacist and a nutritional expert, but you're also a guy who's really in touch with skin issues.
Yep.
And I have some of that for you today. For more than a third of adults in Western countries, they have been exposed to indoor tanning at some point. That's an analysis.
A third?
A third, actually, yeah. Actually, more than a third, according to past research.
Wow.
Now, based on the exposures, authors of the study calculate the number of skin cancers that can be blamed on indoor tanning each year exceeds the number of lung cancers attributed to smoking.
Please. Now, first of all, do you ever tan, Billy? Just as an aside.
I spent many years as an open ocean lifeguard in the South Pacific, so yeah, I've tanned quite a bit in my time.
But you don't go in one of those booths, right?
No.
Well, I want to talk about those tanning booths because there's a lot of people have questions about them. First of all, how the heck do they come up with a statistic like that?
Well, apparently they did an analysis of past research. A Dr. Ilani Linos, a dermatologist at the University of California, San Francisco, together with the World Health Organization and the American Medical Association, they all got together with the American Academy of Dermatology, and they came out against indoor tanning in recent years. The study for this whole thing began in 2009 when the WHO labeled tanning devices as high-level carcinogenics, on par with tobacco.
Well, listen, I don't know how they come up with these numbers. I have zero idea how you make a comparison like that. Those tanning booths are not good. All right, the sun is good. The tanning booths aren't. Why would you go to artificial unless you can't get into some sun? You can't get in the sun if you live in an area where there's no sun. But even then, there's three main sun rays, okay? There's UVA, there's UVB, and UVC. Have you heard of these terms? UVA, UVB, and UVC.
Absolutely.
Have you heard of that, Billy?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. You think pretty much everybody's heard of that probably, right?
Well, I think the last one is the one people haven't heard of.
UVC. Okay,
right.
Good. Well, let's talk real quickly about A, B, and C, all right? These things vary in length. The longest is going to be, and the slowest is going to be UVA. UVA is the type of sunlight that is associated with wrinkles. It's associated with aging. It goes deeper. It goes deeper. It affects deeper tissue, the dermis, the connective tissue. The UVB is the most fascinating and the most interesting. This is the burning ray. Okay, this is the kind of ray. This is the kind of sunlight that accounts for burns. It's the kind of sunlight that's highest in the middle of the day. But here's the thing about UVB. UVB is where you're making your vitamin D. UVB is what creates vitamin D from cholesterol in the skin, not UVA and not UVC. UVC is associated with cancer, and it's for our purposes, it's not as important as A and B. Here's the deal with A and B. If you go into a tanning booth, what do you think they're going to do with the UVB? They filter it. They take it out. Why? Because they don't want you to burn. Consequently, you get lots of UVA. You don't get the vitamin D ray. You don't get the burn, but you get the aging ray. You get the tanning ray. You get the kind of ray that accounts for the damage to your skin. So I don't like those darn tanning booths, if you want to call them. Unless they have UVB, they're a little bit better if they have UVB. Of course, then you have to deal with the burning, but you just don't stay in as long. Now, here's the deal if you're out in the sun and you're afraid of the sun, and you're concerned about aging, and you're concerned about burning, and you're concerned about pigmentation. What you want to be doing is not avoiding the sun. What you want to be doing is protecting yourself from the sun, and I'm not talking about smearing a sunscreen on. I'm talking about the way nature and God intended us to be protected. The divine force did not intend our skin to be protected from the sun by smearing an SPF on. Oh, and by the way, the SPF, what do you think that protects you against? UVB, the vitamin D ray. Yeah, you don't burn, but you don't get your vitamin D either, and you still get the aging ray. The way you protect yourself from the sun, surprise, surprise, is via good nutrition. In fact, there's some wonderful nutritional supplements that not only will protect your skin from the sun, but when you use them, you will be visibly aware. You will notice that you're getting much more sun protection. And of course, if you're getting skin protection, you're also getting eye protection too. That means less macular degeneration and less eye disease. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We're coming back at you right after this. 831-685-1080 is our priority line number. 888-379-2552, toll free. Don't go away. We will be back after this. Okay, so Billy, before we went to break, we were talking about UVA, UVB, and UVC. Does that make sense? I hope I didn't confuse things, right? Three main sun rays.
We should actually know about all three versions of the UV ray.
That's right. That's right. The sunlight is divided up into various lengths, wavelengths they call them, frequencies, whatever you want to call them. UVA, UVB, and UVC, ultraviolet A, ultraviolet B, and ultraviolet C. The one that causes the burning is also the vitamin D ray. That's a very interesting point because it means we got to be exposed to the burning ray if we're going to get our vitamin D. And let nobody tell you, and the American Academy of Dermatology loves telling people that you don't need to go out in the sun because you can get vitamin D from supplements and from foods. Well, let me tell you something. It's not the same vitamin D. The vitamin D your body makes in response to the sun is a way more effective, way more powerful form of vitamin D. What's more, the vitamin D that your skin makes from the sun protects you from the sun. So the body has its own built-in sunscreen. How cool is that? The body has its own built-in sun protection. When you make enough vitamin D, it triggers a sun protection factor, stops the vitamin D from being created, and you get protection from the sun. But if you're wearing a sunscreen, that ain't going to happen, folks. Which is why you want to be focusing not on eliminating UVB, not on eliminating the sun or staying out of the sun the way your dermatologist or the American Academy of Dermatology will tell you. What you want to do is you want to focus on helping your body protect itself, helping the skin protect itself. This is a theme, Bill. This is a theme we talk about all the time. Helping the body do its work. This idea of mucking up the system, of interfering with the system, of knowing better than the system, of knowing better than the divine force, ultimately, which is really what we're talking about here, instead of respecting the intelligence of the body, the divine intelligence of the body, we've created a model that says, oh, well, the doctor will tell us what to do, and we'll cut things out, and we'll poison this, and we'll poison that, and we'll take care of the body because we're smarter than the body. Well, the net result of that is a degenerative disease crisis that is epic. It's of biblical proportions. We are the sickest culture in the history of mankind. And yes, I know our life expectancy has increased from 70 to 75 to 80, but our years spent with degeneration and disease have increased along with it.
Well, common sense comes in here too. You should protect yourself. If you spend time outside, you should wear a wide hat. You should put on, long sleeves. You should take care of yourself.
Well, but here's the thing, Billy. We don't want to look at avoiding the sun. We grew up in the sun. And yes, you're right. You don't want to be burning, obviously overexposing yourself, but you don't want to be afraid of it. You don't want to be shielding yourself from it. What you want to do is you want to get your nutrients. And there's some wonderful, incredible, mind-blowingly effective nutrients for protecting the skin. And they're part of the Mighty 90. They're part of a good diet, but they require supplementation and eating correct, and they require patching up and understanding how your digestive system works to absorb all of these things. I'll tell you what I mean when we come back from our break. I am Pharmacist Ben, sitting in for Doc today, along with Billy Graff. We're taking your phone calls at 831-685-1080. That's your priority line number. Or toll-free, 888-379-2552. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program on the ZBS Radio Network. We will be back right now. All right, we're back on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We'll get to your calls here in just a minute at 831-685-1080 or 888-379-2552. Before we went to our break, Bill, I was just talking about some supplements, nutritional strategies, dietary strategies that you can use to protect yourself from the sun. And the reason this is important is because, you can wear a wide-brim hat. You could use your topical sun protection. And if you're going to use topical sun protection, use zinc oxide only. That's the best one going. Even if it makes you a little bit white, at least you get some zinc out of the deal. And you can do the protective route, but what's going to happen is you're going to deprive yourself of the sun's wonderful, energizing, and healing properties. Billy boy, don't you feel better when you're out in the sun?
Absolutely.
Everybody does, across the board. Everybody feels better with a little bit of sun. The sun is activating. The sun is supercharged. Our skin is a solar battery that absorbs solar energy and turns it into electrical energy. Did you know that, Billy? We have a solar panel.
You told me that years ago. And the thing I remembered when we were talking about this, I once mentioned to you a long time ago that I felt better when I had a tan. And I know that sounds strange, but I do.
No, it doesn't sound strange. Your melanocytes and your pigment are actually part of your nervous system. Your pigment, or at least they're integrated with your nervous system. They're a little bit separate maybe, but they're integrated with the nervous system. So yes, a tan is a sign that the body is active. Now, hyperpigmentation, by the way, which is an inappropriate tanning, is a sign of too much stress. In fact, it's a classic sign of too much stress. Nobody ever talks about this, and I know it from being in the skincare world that there's an epidemic of skincare, of hyperpigmentation. Everybody wants skin lighteners. Well, folks, nobody's telling you that hyperpigmentation is a classic, iconic sign of an activated stress response. As I was talking about earlier in the program, everything that we don't like about being alive, everything that is part of our suffering and part of our sicknesses and diseases and degeneration, including obesity, by the way, is a sign of an activated stress response. Did you know that, Billy, that we get obese when we're under stress? That the body is more likely to store for a rainy day, so to speak?
Well, I didn't know that, but it makes sense.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
That's one of the main reasons people can't lose weight, even if they're on a diet program. Now, if they're on a supplement program, that takes away the stress response because starvation and lack of these nutrients is one of the major causes of stress. And this is why the Beyond Tangy Tangerine helps people lose weight the right way. And that's what I was talking about earlier, is that we can protect ourselves from the sun with a brimmed hat, with a wide brim hat and an umbrella, but we want to protect our skin from the sun the right way. The body wants to be protected a certain way. And it's largely, and maybe close to 90 or 80%, a very high percentage, it has to do with micronutrition, vitamins, minerals, trace nutrients like you get in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. And then patch up your digestive system. For crying out loud, you can't absorb nutrients with a messed up digestive system. So use that Biolumin Nightly Essence. Use the Ultimate Enzymes. Watch out for problem foods. Stay away from dairy and gluten if you have a problem with gluten, and grains if you have a problem with grains. It'll help protect your skin from the sun. That's right. You're patching up the digestive system is one of the best strategies you can use for helping protect your skin from the sun. All right, got tons to talk about. I would love to talk to you about the hyperpigmentation issue because so many people are dealing with it. You'll have to check out my radio program, The Bright Side. We talk about that kind of stuff every day. I want to hit the phones, Billy Boy, 831-685-1080 or 888-379-2552. Who's first in line?
Shola in Georgia is first. Shola, you're on with Pharmacist Ben.
What's up, Shola?
Good afternoon.
Greetings. I love your name, Shola. S-H-O-L-A?
Yes, S-H-O-L-A.
Very pretty. What kind of name is that?
A Nigerian name.
Very beautiful, Shola. Okay, what's going on, Shola? How can we help you?
Yes. I called Dr. Wallach a couple of days ago because
Yes.
my mom has congestive heart failure.
Got it. Heart failure.
And
That's a heart that's not working. Don't even call it congestive heart failure because that's so complicated.
Okay.
It's a heart that's not working. A heart that's not doing what a heart's supposed to do. Heart cells that aren't doing what heart cells are supposed to do. When we break it down that way, it becomes much easier to handle. It becomes much easier to address. Hang tight, Shola. We'll answer your question when we come back from our break. 831-685-1080 is our priority line number. 888-379-2552. Toll free. I am Pharmacist Ben, sitting in for Doc today along with Billy Graff. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We'll be back after this. All right, we're back on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. Pharmacist Ben here, sitting in for Doc today, along with Billy Graff, and we're talking to Shola. Shola, where do you live, Shola? Where you calling from?
I live in Georgia.
Shola in Georgia. Okay, Shola.
Yes.
I went to
and
a
I have
party.
question.
I went to a party a couple of years ago. A Nigerian friend of mine took me to a Nigerian party, and it was all Nigerian people, and they were all dressed up in Nigerian garb, if you will. Some prettiest, most beautiful clothing I'd ever seen in my life. It was so colorful. Right, you know what I'm talking about, Shola? Just beautiful stuff.
Yes.
Very pretty stuff. So I didn't eat any of the Nigerian food, though, I have to admit. I was a little intimidated by that. I was a little intimidated. I didn't quite recognize anything there, so I just stayed away from it. But the dresses, man, they just blew me away. The colors, the pinks and the reds and the oranges and the yellows and purples and the big prints. It was just beautiful. But you didn't call to talk about clothing, I take it. So congestive heart failure, right?
Yeah, but Dr. Wallach told me that I should get her the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and De-Stress.
It's right on. That's what I would say. That's exactly what I would have told you. But I would have thrown in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and the Sweeties, and I would also tell you to have your mom control her intake of sugar or anything that messes up her insulin or blood sugar, and that means bread and pasta. If I was your mom, if I was anybody with congestive heart failure, I wouldn't be touching bread or cereal. There's no upside to those foods, folks, and there's only downside, especially if you already have a heart problem. There's a hand-in-hand relationship between diabetes or blood sugar issues, technically called dysglycemia. That just means bad blood sugar. There's a hand-in-hand link between bad blood sugar and heart disease. That's as clear as I can get. In fact, not only that, there's a hand-in-hand relationship between heart disease and the digestive system that nobody talks about. I'm actually reading a textbook right now called Bile Acids, subtitled "The Chemistry and Physiology of Bile." That's a digestive chemical, and their influence on heart disease. And this is a textbook, so we've known about this stuff for decades. So you got a number one for your mom. You got to focus, as Doc Wallach says, the de-stress is great for her. That's going to help her with her adrenal glands. We make the CardioFX. The CardioFX is part of the Brain and Healthy Heart Pack, which includes the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and the Ultimate Essential Fatty Acids. And then, my dear, you want to focus on controlling her blood sugar, your mom's blood sugar, using the Sweeties product, which is amazing for controlling blood sugar, making sure you're on the Ultimate Daily, and then get on the Biolumin Nightly Essence and the Ultimate Enzymes also. Focus on digestive health. Focus on patching up that digestive system. It's so important and so underappreciated. You got lots of places you can work there, Shola. And thanks for your call. Appreciate it from Georgia. God bless you. And let's see who's next on the line. Bill?
All right, let's go to Lodi, California. And Arthur, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
I am not Dr. Wallach. I appreciate the compliment. I appreciate
Pharmacist Ben, I'm sorry.
Thank you. No, I appreciate the compliment, though. No kidding. Go ahead. What's going on?
Thank you. I got a problem with peripheral neuropathy.
That's a hard one. That's a tongue twister, but let's break that thing down, okay? Doctors love tongue twisters because it makes us feel scared and intimidated. Peripheral neuropathy means you got messed up nerves. I'd like just cutting to the chase here, okay? Peripheral means it's on the periphery. It's in the outside part of your body. And the
bottom
external...
of my feet.
Yeah, your feet, towards the ends, your extremities kind of thing. Neuro means nerves. Pathy means disease. So you got diseased nerves in your feet. That's peripheral neuropathy. What's the deal? Why is it the feet or the hands, the toes or the fingers? Why is it the extremities? Well, that's because the nutrients don't get delivered to the extremities under conditions of deficiency. You follow me? When you're deficient in nutrients, your toes don't matter. Your fingertips don't matter. Your heart matters. Your spleen matters. Your liver matters. The internal viscera, the internal organs, that's what matters to the body. So it will pull all the nutrients, and that includes blood, by the way, away from the toes and away from the fingers. It'll pull everything. It'll shunt everything to the middle part of your body. And this is why diabetes accounts for blindness, and this is why diabetes accounts for amputations. It's because blood is being pulled away from the exterior parts of the body towards the middle part of the body under conditions of nutritional deficiency. So number one, if they didn't tell you you're diabetic, you're well on the road. You probably are a diabetic, and I don't pay any attention to what the tests. No, you don't say no. You say the doctor told me I wasn't. That's different. What they do is they test you based on scores, but the scores don't matter. You got dysglycemia, rest assured. Get on the Healthy Start Pack number one, always. Always, always, always. The BTT, the EFAs, and the OsteoMag, that gets you your basics. The OsteoFX, that gets your basic 90 nutrients that everybody needs. Then you want to start, and by the way, I would be doubling the dose on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine if I were you. Your body really, really needs it if you've got some neuropathy in your feet.
Tangerine?
Yeah, it's called Beyond Tangy Tangerine. You want to get the 2.0, and I'd be doing a double dose if I were you, sipping on it all day long. All right? And then the whole Mighty 90 is probably going to be very helpful for you. But in addition to that, even if the doctor told you you're not a diabetic, you want to treat yourself as if you were a diabetic. That means magnesium, the OsteoMag. That means the Ultimate Daily. That's got your basics. And then that also means the Sweeties, which is one of my all-time favorite longevity products. We all need the Sweeties. We're all pre-diabetic, no matter what the doctor told us, but especially if you got peripheral neuropathy. So you got a lot to work on there, my friend. You got Beyond Tangy Tangerine as part of the Healthy Start Pack, magnesium is in the OsteoMag product, the Sweeties, and the Ultimate Daily as well. There's lots more you could do, but that's a great start. Treat yourself as a diabetic. Make sure you're pounding yourself with nutrients, and you want to just basically assume that if your extremities are starting to suffer either from pain, neuropathies, that kind of thing, you want to assume that you are nutritionally deficient, especially in the kind of nutrients that you're going to get in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the B complex, and the electrolytes. All right, thanks for your call. Appreciate it. We got time to squeeze one more in, Bill?
We certainly do. Let's move to Washington, D.C., and Keith. Keith, you're on with Pharmacist Ben.
What's up, Keith?
How you doing?
What's the good word?
I'm just trying to survive. I'm doing all right.
All right. Let's see. Let me hear how I can help you.
My situation is I'm a dialysis patient for 15 years.
All right.
And I'm told that Dr. Wallach has
he does. He's got a protocol.
Different types of nutrients that I can take.
Yeah, he does.
Taking medications take nutrients.
Yep,
so I'm going to give you a little bit on that and tell me what I need to do.
Billy, I don't. Billy, you there?
Yes,
Billy,
sir.
Boy? All right. And I can't speak for Doc. I'm not Doc, and Doc knows a heck of a lot more than I'll ever know. That guy is
okay.
He's ridiculous. He's a genius. He's beyond a genius. In any case, if it was me, I'd be doing the BTT and the Ultimate Daily, and I think that's what Doc talks about. Is that right, Billy?
That is correct.
Yeah, it's the BTT and the Ultimate Daily, and Doc has really good success getting people off of dialysis or helping them with their dialysis at least. Just because you're on dialysis doesn't mean you don't need nutrition. In fact, you need it more because you're forcing your kidneys to pull things out. If you're not replacing, this is so important, you guys. If we're not replacing these water-soluble nutrients, the nutrients like the B complex and vitamin C and electrolytes, if we're not replacing those nutrients and we're urinating or we're on dialysis and stuff's leaving our body, we're going to be deficient and deficient quickly. And for most people who aren't listening to this program perhaps, but certainly most people out there, the vast majority of people, they're not supplementing. They're not eating their living foods. They're not eating good foods at all. And they're going to be deficient in the B complex and vitamin C and electrolytes. Why is that important? Because the B vitamins and vitamin C and electrolytes are your energy vitamins. They're what your heart runs on, your brain runs on, your nervous system runs on, your immune system runs on, really your whole body, but especially the skin, the immune system, the heart, and the nervous system. They're all especially dependent on these nutrients that we're all deficient in.
Ben, they also want to take the Ultimate Daily.
The Ultimate Daily, correct, and the BTT, right? Ultimate Daily and the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Make sure you sip on that BTT Beyond Tangy Tangerine all day long rather than doing it all at once. I don't like people to do it all at once. If you like doing it all at once, great. But to me, you want to give yourself a nice steady stream of these nutrients all day long so that as you urinate out, as you stream out, you're streaming in, so to speak. Okie dokie, we got to take a break. If you're on hold, hang tight. Well, thanks so much for your call. Appreciate it there from D.C. Okay, we're going to take a break and come back with your calls, with more of your calls if you're on hold. Stay there. We'll try to get to everybody if we can. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. I'm Pharmacist Ben, along with Bill Graff, sitting in for Doc today, and we'll be back right after this. All right, we're back on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. Pharmacist Ben and Bill Graff here, taking your phone calls. Who's next on the line? Douglas? I'm sorry, Bill.
That's all right. You did. I did it to you as a turnabout's fair play. Florence in Detroit wants to talk to you. Florence, you're on with Pharmacist Ben.
Hey, Florence, what's up?
I was telling him that I had taken some Gaviscon.
Okay.
Acid reflux, I guess it was. And
all right.
I got pain in the stomach that went up into the chest.
Really? Right. Did you take the Gaviscon after you ate?
Yes.
All right. Well, here's the deal, my dear. Gaviscon suppresses acid. It's an antacid. It's bicarbonate. Okay? Like baking soda. It's a fancy schmancy drug version baking soda. It's got a few other things in it, but that's generally what it is. After you eat a meal, your body needs acid to digest the food. What you did with the Gaviscon is you neutralized that. So now the food is sitting around undigested. You probably got gas from bacteria feeding on the undigested food, and that's giving you your pain. So what you want to do, number one, is don't take the Gaviscon anymore. That's for sure. At least not after a meal. Secondly,
I took Prevacid and I've taken Prilosec.
You don't want to do that, sweetheart. Listen, what you're doing is you're shutting down the digestive system after you eat. Now, does that make sense? Do you follow what I'm saying?
I took the Prevacid before I ate.
Whatever, you're still suppressing the acid.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm not going to get into that. Here's what you want to do about the Gaviscon, because you got some pain going on?
Up in the chest. And
yeah, you got some gas. First of all, you could ride it out if you like, but get yourself on the Biolumin Nightly Essence. All right, or get yourself on a good... You got that?
Spell that for me.
Biolumin. That's the name of the company, Biolumin. Mm-hmm. And the product, and you get it from Longevity. The product is called Nightly Essence, like at night. Nightly Essence. Get yourself about 4 or 5 of those every day, and that'll help you with your heartburn too, by the way. All right? That'll help you with the acid. You're making too much acid, and instead of figuring out why you're making too much acid, you're shutting it down. You had a baby, didn't you? You had a kid growing up, right? When your baby cried, did you shut your baby up by wrapping duct tape around his mouth? Probably not. All right? You asked the baby what was wrong with the baby. Say, hey, you didn't ask him, but you looked around for whatever was causing the distress. That's how we need to treat our bodies. If we got heartburn, if we have acid indigestion, if we've got pain, if we've got neuropathies, you guys, suppressing and shutting down the body is not going to help. It's going to make matters worse. This model that we all assume is correct. Think about it, you guys. We're assuming it's correct. We're never analyzing it. But if you look at the numbers, the statistics, the degenerative disease, the diabetes, the obesity, the lack of impact that the medical model has on these things, it's obvious that this idea of shutting systems down in the body, antihypertensives and anti-inflammatories and anti-neoplastics and anti-this and anti-that, this is not the way the body needs to be treated. We need to ask our body what's wrong. We need to talk to our bodies. We need to notice our bodies. We have to protect our bodies like our bodies were our children. To take a drug, if you have a symptom, to knock out inflammation, to knock out hypertension, to knock out cholesterol, to knock out, or to surgically remove something out of the body because it's not complying. I've seen people with their thyroids removed because their thyroid was non-compliant. It was going crazy because of something we were doing. People have their gallbladders removed. They have their female organs removed all the time. There's hundreds of thousands, there's millions of these kinds of surgical procedures that are done every year. It's big bucks. Nobody's going to tell you, nobody in the medical model whose mortgages depend on these things is going to tell you this, but the fact of the matter is that there is an intelligence in the body that can heal itself, but we have to participate. And getting on a good nutritional supplement program, getting on the longevity products, starting right away to participate in a nutritional supplement program is the first step towards reversing whatever the heck you're dealing with. And I'm sorry to be long-winded. Do we have time for another phone call there, Doug or Billy?
No, we're just about done.
We're just about time. Okay.
There's the music.
If I left you on hold, I apologize, but I do get passionate about this because, folks, the human body is a healing and regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself every day, every moment of every day. We just need to give it the raw materials. We got to help it. We got to allow it to have the wherewithal to do its divinely mandated work. Thanks so much for listening, folks. I'm Pharmacist Ben for Doug Winfrey and for Billy Graff, for MZ and Dr. Wallach. Have yourselves a wonderful, awesome, beautiful day. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.